Alright, I want you to listen here to something that Ted Nugent said about Van Halen, and then I'm going to reflect a little bit on his comments, and then I'm going to ask you what you think. Now, I want you to pay particular attention to what Ted Nugent says about David Lee Roth. Here's Ted Nugent talking about Van Halen.
And so when I first saw Van Halen, they opened up for me. I think the first gig was either Omaha or Des Moines, Iowa. But I heard that guitar, and I was aware that you really got me guitar solo. But let me tell you, Eddie Van Halen stood out because he hit such heretofore uncharted frequencies and patterns. He obliterated the predictable scales. He went places that no one had ever gone, and the noises and the use of the flanger and the tone of this amplifier that he made in his basement and a guitar that he made in his basement. As frontal and as apparent as Eddie's guitar impact was, I give equal power and virtuosity to David Lee Roth as a vocal adventurer and vocal stylist and a frontman, energized leader of the pack. But I also give equal props to Michael Anthony as a foundational, inescapable groove rhythm bass player and unequaled background and harmony vocalist.
Alright, so he's heaping praise all over the band, but what I wanted you to pay particular attention to is what he said about David Lee Roth. He said that David Lee Roth was a match for the innovation and brilliance of Eddie Van Halen, and my question to you is, do you agree with this statement? I've been doing a lot of videos on David Lee Roth and Van Halen recently, and in those videos, we've had discussions about whether or not David Lee Roth borrowed excessively from Jim Dandy. I'm planning to do a video coming up very soon about allegations that Sammy Hagar made about David Lee Roth stealing from him and his image. And we've done videos in the past about David Lee Roth's vocal abilities. Now, if you were to put up a poll regarding who was the better lead vocalist or frontman of Van Halen, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth is going to win that poll 90% of the time. If you look up sales, the Roth era sales are almost double that of the Sammy Hagar era. But this is a different question than whether or not David Lee Roth was an equal to Eddie Van Halen in terms of his role in the band as a frontman, as a lyricist, and as a singer. And that touches upon something we've been discussing in other videos that Jimmy Page always stresses, which is that a good band has equal contributions by all of its members. Now, Nugent, in this clip, conspicuously doesn't mention Alex Van Halen, but let's just assume that he feels similarly about him. So he's saying that Van Halen was this massively tremendous band because it had 4 incredible members. And I would agree with that assessment, although I'm going to leave it up to you to tell me whether or not you believe David Lee Roth was creatively equal to the maestro Eddie Van Halen. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Also check out the Music Guru here, asking you to help us on our march to 10,000 subscribers.